If you're going to be a lifelong learner, you're going to try and tell these kids how to think, not what to think. I think it's just a better option than what you hear about the education system all the time. It's just like it's indoctrination camp, and it is.
It is because and you see that I'd argue it's even worse at some of the private schools, but how to think, not what to think is so critical. And I know I wasn't taught that in school because there was this really good example, and it was saying education isn't teaching kids about the atrocities of World War II and the Holocaust and having them memorize it and take a test. Educating children is teaching them how a group of Germans was told definitively to other another group to the point of mass genocide. And then that's education, is understanding how all of these tiny little drops in a bucket can create something so atrocious, and not just memorizing facts. It was like, I think originally when we had scheduled this interview, there was that clip that was going viral of this teacher that was actively doing an exercise of how to teach critical thinking to a student, and this kid had just kind of outwardly called J.K. Rowling a
Mhm.
transphobe. He's like, knowing that J.K. Rowling is transphobic, and then goes on for his argument, and he kind of breaks this down step by step, and then it ends with the kid saying, "Actually, I didn't disagree with anything she says, and no, I don't think she's transphobic." It's like, why aren't we doing more of that? Why are we trying to tell these young minds that aren't done yet this is the way of the world? And we have no freaking idea. Most of us are just trying to do our best, and it's like, given my experience in 34 years of life, this is my perspective. That's
Mhm.
it. You know what I mean? Not like this is the way.
Yeah, that video, Warren Smith is his name. I've reached out to him, and I reached out to him a lot because I was like, all right, let's go. He teaches at a community college, which is great. But I think that stuff is happening more in colleges. Where it's not happening is in my world of like K through 12 at all.
Mhm.
And I mean, or if it is, it's not online at all. And you could see the reaction that like whatever Elon Musk and all these people were like, oh my gosh, this is so good. They should be. It's like, yeah, I'm doing it, and I've made like courses for critical thinking in across the disciplines for high school classes and stuff like that. Like, I'm trying, but it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, which is like people just don't seem to want to don't they like don't care really about diving into it. I don't know. It's like it's a weird thing, but that went viral. People are saying yes, teachers should be doing this, and then that's it. Like, and then it just moves on. I don't know. I'm kind of confused by that's why I reached out to you initially. It's like, oh, she's talking about the education system and about how we should be critically thinking and stuff like that. And like, yeah, let's go. So I think you're right to like, let's talk, because I'm just looking for anyone that's talking about it and trying to like form some sort of like Voltron or something to take on the Goliath of the way the education system works. I think the education system, if you look at the history from like the Prussian army and like the Rockefellers and stuff, it's an obedience model. It
Oh, yeah.
exchanges, what I say all the time is it exchanges curiosity for compliance. Kids will have a
Mhm.
question. You go, sorry, I can't answer your question. We have to get to all these standards and stuff like that. We have limited time. So I'm not going to answer your question. So don't ask questions. You can't,
Mhm.
some of the teachers at my school get upset with me because I say to students all the time, like, do you ever ask your teacher why you're learning this and how learning this, calculus or covalent bonds or whatever, how is this going to help me as a 16-year-old in Los Angeles today, and then also as a 25-year-old starting a career in psychology, and then also as a 40-year-old, mother of two? Like, tell me how learning about a covalent bond is going to help me with that, teacher. Go. And the teachers get really mad.
Uh-huh. I was that kid. Go to
Like,
the principal's office.
it's so crazy to me, and I feel like a Twilight Zone kid is where I'm just like, so I'm the crazy one that says that the things we should be learning in school should be applicable. That's
Mhm.
that's crazy. That's the crazy stance. It's so wild. I don't know. But you can't, like, because the truth is, you can explain it. Like the War of, I saw the War of 1812. No one cares about the War of 1812. People know when it happened, but that's it. But you can explain the War of 1812. It was like Revolutionary War Part 2, and I explain it in a term like this, like, you just had a fist fight with a kid, and you lost, even though you should have won, but you slipped on a banana peel or something like that. And he won. Now he's being braggadocious about it. But now you have to sit next to each other in class, and it's October, and you got to stay next to each other in class until June. And you're stewing, and he's braggadocious, and you're like, it's going to get on again. That's what the War of 1812 was. So even if you win, don't think that the conflict is over. You got to really resolve it. That's a useful tool. But that's not what War of 1812 is taught. They're like, they burned down the White House. Andrew Jackson was a war hero, and it happened in these forts. It's like, I don't know. I don't care about that stuff.
Well, I think all of education is gonna have no choice but to change. I mean, you see everything that's happening with AI and how fast it's all developing. Imagine history class where you're able to kinda have AR, like an AR experience or a VR experience, and actually talk to Washington and actually, like, be a a bystander on the lines of war. It's gonna be really immersive, and I think, and then that'll probably be beneficial to a lot of people, assuming that they have access to the technology, I guess that is.
Who's going to program it? Because you
That's
saw
true.
the stuff that's going on with like Google AI and stuff like that. Are they going to
Oh.
program it to where George Washington will be like, "Hi, I'm George Washington. I am a slave owning terrible person." It's like,
Mm.
that's the thing with AI is like it's programmed by someone, and it's probably someone in Silicon Valley, someone with a strong ideology who doesn't understand the complex nuance of historical context.
You know what's weird too is I feel like a lot of people that are pushing a lot of stuff when it comes to CRT and DEI and all of that, they don't have kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that are trying to have the most control over your kids. So, I mean, it gets again, my kid goes to a private school, and I feel like the benefit of that is that my opinion is somewhat taken into account. We've had meetings and things of that nature, so people kinda know where I stand on certain topics and, what's appropriate and not appropriate, but even then, it's still wildly limited, and
Mm.
then I talk to other parents, and they're like, "Well, we don't like this either, but it's the best option that we have, and you're never going to get something that's perfect unless you homeschool," and then there's this fallacy that you're not capable and someone else is capable, and it's like, why do I have such a deep disbelief in my own abilities or my abilities to outsource that and hire a personal educator? Like, that's also an option if you have the resources. So I'm applying for a school in the next couple of weeks, and I am so excited. I'm very hopeful to get approved, and we're just going to start school locally.